In saying the Pesukim, which everybody says together out loud when reading the Megillah, Ish Yehudi and Lohidim Haisa Ora, if you're not reading them personally as an individual from a kosher Megillah, rather you're reading out of a chumash while listening to the person reading the Megillah out of the parchment, it's preferable to have in mind not to fulfill your obligation with your own saying the Pesukim out loud, but rather to fulfill your obligation with the reading of the Shaliach Tzibur, so they can fill the preferable manner of hearing the entire Megillah mitoch haksav, out of the written Megillah. It's actually a hefsek to participate with everybody else in saying the words out loud. You should just have in mind that you're not being yotze with those words you're saying out loud. Yotze when you hear it after the Shliach Tzibur. The Mishabura begins the name of the Chai Adam, that which in some places, in all of our places nowadays, the Kehillah says that Aseres Bnei Haman out loud is not a minhag. Rather, only the Shliach Tzibur should say them, and everybody else should listen like the rest of the Megillah. Shlomo Zalman writes, our minhag is, of course, that everybody says the Aseres Bnei Haman. It's interesting, the reason which is given for this by the Rogatchover, the Tzafnas Panech, says, our minhag, that each every person says the Aseres Bnei Haman by themselves and do not fulfill the obligation simply by listening to the Baal Kriya, is because in Maseches Megillah Daf Tezayin it says that the Bnei Haman have to be all said in one breath. And although you can be Yotzei the words by somebody else, you can't be Yotzei, you can't feel the obligation of saying them in one breath with somebody else. And it says, with this you understand why in most Megillahs nowadays, the Aseres Bnei Haman are written in large letters in the Megillah, even though in the Masorah, in the traditional texts, which are supposed to be in large, they don't appear in large letters. And there are some Megillah still, which you'll find, where they're not written in large letters. With the reason why we can write them and do write them in large letters, because in Tosfos Brachos Daf Mem Vav it says, anything which the Kehillah has to say is supposed to be written large. And that is why we write the Aseres Bnei Haman large as well.